In this video, I'm going to download and install Kafka, start it, create a topic on it, add something to that topic, and then read something from that topic. Admittedly, I'm just going to go through the quick start guide here because it is quite straightforward. So from kafka.apache.org, get started quick start. We'll start by downloading the latest version. Keep in mind that by the time you watch this video, the latest version might not be the same number that you see here. So if you say, hey, wait, you're 2.13, I'm on 2 something greater, don't worry, just grab the latest version. So I download it. Once it's downloaded, simply choose Show in Folder. Since it's a GTZ file, you'll need something like 7-zip or one of several other unzip utilities to unzip it. I'm just grabbing 7-zip here and I'll go ahead and install it. After I download 7-zip, I open it from the Start menu, and I've already done that. See here I have 7-zip. And then I simply navigate to the folder where I downloaded Kafka. Now from here I can double click and you see there's a tar. I can again double click on that. And then inside of that you see a folder. So let's right click on this and I'm going to say copy to. Now this folder is kind of funny, Kafka _ 2.13-260, and this is something we're going to need to access on the command line somewhat frequently. So it's normally not good practice to put something right at C root, but there's some things that I will, and if it's something I have to do command line on and it's a kind of funny path, that is a case where I will. So I'm going to go ahead and extract this out to C. Now we'll take a look at C root, and sure enough there's Kafka and several of the directories that I'm going to need to start up and configure Kafka. Now I paused the video for a moment and I tried to start up Kafka to make sure I've done everything right so far, and something did appear, which is I don't have Java installed at a system level. So I went out and I realized that I have it associated with my IDE, but that's local to my IDE and not necessarily something that can speak to my entire operating system. So I went out to jdk.java.net to get the Open JDK as opposed to the Oracle JVM, which has certain license restrictions. Nonetheless, normally I'd recommend getting the latest. I went ahead and grabbed 11 just because I did a quick Java version on my IntelliJ JDK. And I found that it's Open JDK version 11, which isn't the latest at this time, but nonetheless, a little bit of benefit to keeping them similar. So I downloaded the zip file, and I'm simply going to copy this. And as I did before with Kafka, I'm going to go ahead and put this out at root because I know I'm going to need to make an environment variable out of it. So I go to environment variables. In path, I choose edit, new, and then let's go ahead and paste in the path to the JDK. That's how it's going to find java.exe, which is essentially how it can run Java programs. Let's make one more, new. We'll call this one Java Home, and this just tells us where Java is installed. Very important here. Just like before, except chop off the bin directory at the end. If you don't do that when you start Kafka, you'll get a weird message that says path can't be found. Then you'll Google it, and then you'll realize that you left the bin off the end. We'll go ahead and choose OK, and there's an easy way to verify that Java is installed correctly on your machine. Go to a new command window, because old command windows won't know that environment variables have changed. New command window, type java-version. And if you see something like this and it matches the Java version you're expecting, you're good. On the other hand, if it says Java can't be found, something went wrong. At this point, I'm happy that I'm good, so I'm going to go back and we're going to start Kafka. I start by navigating through the directories you see here. On a Windows machine, the bat files are in a bin Windows directory. Shell scripts for Unix, Linux are directly in bin. So navigating directly to Windows, and then Zookeeper server start bat, and then we need to give it a configuration file. Now, the configuration file is in a config folder, which is a sibling of this bin directory. So I need to walk up 2 levels and then back down to config, and then simply zookeeper.properties. Enter, and we look good. Now, Zookeeper is a container that manages Kafka. We still do need to start Kafka, and we'll need to do this in a separate command line window. But that's okay, because I get to show you one of my favorite keyboard shortcuts of all times. If I navigate to the bin directory, you'll see that there's bin, Windows, and then Kafka server start bat is what we want to call. But we have to navigate there on the command line. What I'm going to do is just click through here in Windows Explorer, then put my mouse up in the top where the address is, type in CMD, hit enter, and take a look at where this command line opens. It opens to that exact same directory where I just was. So from here, Kafka server start, space, and then we need to go up to our config directory again, so .. config, and this time it is server.properties. And enter. And Kafka has started. Next, we need to add a new topic. The bad news is it's going to be another command window. The good news is we get to use that CMD trick one more time. So Kafka topics.bat --create space --bootstrap -server space localhost :9092 space --replication -factor space 1 space --partitions space 1 --topic. We give it a name. I hate to use the name test, but we'll give it the name test. There's a lot of typing there, a lot of symbols. Naturally, you want to pause for just a moment and make sure that you didn't make a mistype because it's easy to do. Now let's test things out by adding something to the topic. So we'll say Kafka console producer bat space --broker -list space localhost :9092 space --topic space test. Notice it gives us a prompt here, and I can say things like foo and var, and I'm essentially adding those to that topic. So the producer publishes onto a topic where a consumer will consume off of the topic. Now we want to start a consumer. Once again, we open a new command window, but we know our little secret. We type in CMD, that goes straight to that directory. Kafka -console, this time consumer bat, space --bootstrap -server space localhost :9092 space --topic space test -from -beginning. Once again, a lot of typing, a lot of symbols. Just double check, make sure that you don't have any mistypes in that, and we hit enter. Now you see something interesting that happens as soon as I hit enter. We see foo and bar appears in this window. Let's go back to our producer and let's try to do something a little bit interactive. I'll keep the producer in the upper left, and then we'll move the consumer down here to the lower right so that we can see them both on the same screen. Let's say Baz. And you notice when I enter Baz on the producer side, we see it on the consumer side. Once again, Princess Checkers, we put that on the producer side, and then we can see that on the consumer side. At this point, we've proven out that we have successfully installed Kafka as well as several other things like Java. And we've proven out that we can produce onto a topic and we can read from that topic. Now, naturally, this is a test. We won't normally jump into command line to add something to a topic or consume something from a topic. More often than not, it's going to be a microservice that's doing this communication. And that's exactly where Kafka really pays off in this idea of RESTful microservices, services-oriented architecture, and the like, where we have little services that can be tied together with something like Kafka that gives us the ability to send a message on one and make sure it gets picked up by the other. So, I hope this video has been helpful, and as always, I look forward to reading your comments. Thank you.